BCW started, it actually formed at a meeting at a coffee shop on Tecumseh Road East. It was myself, Chuck Fader, and Doug Chevalier. And basically it got formed because there was myself, Irish Bobby Clancy, and Otis Apollo, three local guys who had trained under Doug Chevalier who were looking to get a break and try to expand our horizons in the wrestling business. So needed a place to start that, and since there weren't a lot of connections in this area with other people out there in the industry at that point anymore, we kind of had to start from scratch. That's how me, Doug, and Chuck took it. What BCW means to Windsor, I think it's really kind of revived something that was been dead in Windsor for years. There had been probably a decade of really nothing, decade plus of nothing wrestling-wise happening in Windsor. And when I started to get into the wrestling business, there was nothing. There was really no base of wrestling fans. There was no base of wrestlers. And I think that through Border City Wrestling and the Can-Am Wrestling School, I think now that we've revived Windsor's rich history in the professional wrestling business. Windsor, Ontario is really the new Calgary, Alberta, in the sense that there was a time in the 80s, the 70s and 80s, where if you were trained as a professional wrestler in Canada, people assumed you were from Calgary, Alberta. And now, if you're Canadian, then the assumption often is that you're associated with me and with the Can-Am Wrestling School.
The Can-Am Wrestling School has turned out many successful graduates, such as Conrad Kennedy III, or CK3, as he is known to most fans.
Patrick Martin, who was my training partner, and we used to talk about how great it'd be to work for Border City. And we were working for Max Pro, which was an offshoot of Border City, and when Border City started back up again, they took Patrick Martin, and then Patrick asked if I could come over and train as well. Well, Patrick Martin, long story short, became Alex Shelly, and he got me over in Border City, and that was like my big goal. That was like my first big goal. You have to walk before you can crawl. Like when I started wrestling, it wasn't that, man, I want to get into WWE. It was, man, I want to wrestle for Border City Wrestling because I know that's who has all the talent.
Another graduate from the Can-Am Wrestling School is Essex, Ontario native Brad freakin' Martin.
Hello everyone, my name is Brad freakin' Martin, and I am a professional wrestler hailing here from Ontario, Canada, Windsor to be specific. The story of Brad freakin' Martin is that I am one of the premier professional wrestlers in the country of Canada today. I love to go out, I love to have a great match, entertain the fans, and have the best performance I possibly can. I have been doing this, professional wrestling, for about 4 years now, since February of 2004, when Brad freakin' Martin had his very first freakin' match in a professional ring. My opinion on Border City Wrestling, BCW in particular, is there are no other independent promotions around.
While mostly dominated by men, in recent years Border City Wrestling has also showcased women wrestlers such as Tracy Brooks, Angel Williams, and Gail Kim. But none have been more dominant than Jaime Dauncey. Jaime D made her wrestling debut in 2002 and has blazed a trail through the wrestling world with both women and men as victims. However, there's a new kid in town, a challenger in the form of Cat Powell.
I remember when I was still a student, we had to go to the school and tear the ring down and set the chairs up and set the ring up at the venue, and they were still running at the Chicharo Club, and that was my first Border City show that I got to work as a staff member, not an actual wrestler. And it was so cool, and I got to see all the guys in the back and going over the show and stuff, and it was just so much fun. And the atmosphere was so energetic because it was a really big show. It was the Jeff Jarrett Raven International Incident Show, and it was so cool to be involved in that. I was just like, oh, I can't wait to do this and be on a Border City show, and it's going to be so much fun.
Over the 15 plus years of existence, Border City Wrestling has had tons of great moments.
Greatest moment in BCW history, probably going to be different if you ask different people. A lot of people are probably going to reference The Rock being out there and wrestling in LaSalle Arena. That was a pretty cool moment. A lot of people reference the time that Tommy Dreamer first appeared, and his first appearance at the Chicharo Club, which really kicked in that era of Border City Wrestling in 2001. And we rode that for a few years as a pretty great run, pretty special time in Border City Wrestling history. And I don't know, there's been so many through, and I guess it just depends what who the individual person is. Some people, if you go back far enough, we'll talk about the LaSalle street fight between Shinobi the Oriental Assassin, which was Al Snow's moniker at the time. Though Al Snow really doesn't sound like an Oriental name, does it? He wore a mask. And Irish Mickey Doyle, who's a great legend out of the 70s. So it really depends to each individual person. It's different. To me, I don't know. I don't really pick one moment. I'm probably more just proud of the body of work that it is.
The one constant of Border City Wrestling has been its fans. Some fans travel from all over the United States and Canada, and sometimes even Europe, to witness BCW action and its stars.
What's your name? Tyler? What's your name? Let's have a nice round of applause for Tyler.
The best part of wrestling, hands down, is the fans. You people out there that come to the shows, that put your asses in the seats. I don't know if I can say asses or not, but I said it. Put your butts in the seats.
I love making a crowd come up or making them believe that what's going on, means something, or have them actually emotionally involved in a match and want them to, want the babyface to come up, or have the crowd just hate you so much that they want to jump in the ring and just be, help their favorite win, or, it's so much fun that way, because you're the center of attention and you can draw emotion out of people, and that's really cool.
Best part about wrestling is the having people come up to you after the show and asking for your autograph, or just being the guy that like my goal every time I step in the ring is to be the most entertaining guy out there. I've always wanted to be kind of like Roddy Piper, like the guy you'd love to hate. A lot of times after the show, I'll get guys, I'll get people yelling at me, booing at me, spitting at me, throwing stuff at me, telling me how bad I suck, and those same people are the people lining up after the show while I'm on my way to my car and asking me if I can take a picture with their kids. So.
I think we've always tried to do our part with Border City Wrestling to try to assist the community, whether it's raising funds for the athletic program and such, and then the Parents Association, like we just did at Assumption High School, whether it's a can drive, whether it's going and working with Kojiko and the Windsor firefighters to do the appearances to raise money for the burn care units. We've always tried to have a sense of community. Border City Wrestling is Windsor's wrestling company. It's not Toronto's, it's not Detroit's, it's Windsor. The people that own it are from Windsor. The people that operate it are from Windsor. The people that come up through it are through Windsor. We do business in Windsor with Windsor people, and we try to be a positive part of the community.
Skate with me, never lie. Run like lamb, devils fly. Across the field you run, right on to devil's tongue.